Breaking, y'all better sit down for this one, because the internet just exploded. Tasha K, yes, that Tasha K, queen of controversy and unfiltered chaos, has officially been jailed after what can only be described as one of the most explosive courtroom meltdowns we've ever seen. Cameras weren't allowed inside, but baby, the leaks were louder than her YouTube rants. And just when you thought it couldn't get messier, enter Bambi, heels first, swinging with unseen receipts, that had the entire courtroom gasping, snatching wigs, and dialing their PR teams. What was in those documents? Oh honey. Let's just say, if screenshots could kill, Tasha would have been sentenced twice. Now, how did we get from sipping wine on live streams to wearing orange behind bars? Was it karma? Was it slander? Or was it just plain stupidity? And what exactly did Bambi expose that had even the judge clutching his pearls? You won't believe the names, the numbers, and the dirty secrets coming out of this scandal. Buckle up, because what we're about to unpack makes love and hip-hop look like Sesame Street. And trust, this ain't just gossip. This is a straight-up scandal with jail time on the side. Let's get one thing clear from the jump. Tasha K didn't just trip and fall into trouble. She sprinted into it like she was chasing clout at the finish line. After everything she's been through with Cardi B dragging her through the legal system and cleaning out her pockets like a vacuum, you'd think she would have learned her lesson. But no, Tasha came back louder, messier, and more reckless than ever. This time though, it wasn't just a defamation lawsuit or a heated blog post that got her. It was her own mouth. Once again, mixed with a court leak so explosive that even the judge looked like he needed a moment to process. Imagine being so addicted to the chaos that you can't help but talk when silence could save you. That's where Tasha was on the edge, playing with fire in a courtroom that had no patience left. This wasn't some YouTube livestream where she could mute the backlash or delete the comments. This was federal. This was real. And baby, the consequences came quick and hard. Word started swirling that confidential court audio had been leaked. Not just transcripts, audio, voices, arguments, names. And guess who was at the center of that leak? You already know. Tasha sat there in her seat, like the queen of conspiracy, thinking she was untouchable. She had that smug smirk, the kind that says, I know something you don't, until the judge called for a break and came back with receipts that shook the room. Apparently, while under strict court orders, somebody from Tasha's circle or maybe even Tasha herself had recorded sensitive material from a closed-door session. That audio had somehow found its way to a mysterious blog channel that just happened to echo Tasha's exact language. The timing, suspicious, the tone, identical, and the fingerprints. Well, let's just say digital forensics is not the place you want to play games. Now, here's where the story takes a wicked turn. Right when everyone thought it was just another courtroom drama, Bambi shows up with a vengeance. And she didn't come alone. Sis came with a folder. Not a folder on her phone. No, an actual folder in her hand, like she was turning in homework that was about to flunk somebody out of life. Nobody expected Bambi to be the silent assassin in this whole saga. But when she spoke, the court got quiet. She stood up and said she had proof that Tasha wasn't just leaking content, she was manipulating narratives and planting stories during an active case. Bambi claimed that Tasha had contacted individuals tied to the case, promising exposure and platform time in exchange for juicy It was a backdoor circus and Tasha was ringmaster, allegedly directing the whole act while playing innocent. But Bambi wasn't there to rant. She had receipts, screenshots, call logs, even voice memos. And when she played one particular clip aloud, jaws dropped. It was Tasha allegedly coaching someone on what to say, how to say it, and when to drop it. The courtroom shifted instantly. No longer was this about gossip. This was obstruction. This was tampering. And in that moment, Tasha's whole world cracked. Security was called. The judge ordered a temporary recess. And Tasha, who moments earlier looked like she was ready to drop a vlog update, now looked like she couldn't breathe. Cameras weren't allowed inside. But witnesses say she broke out in a sweat so fast it was like she realized too late this wasn't a brand deal, it was a downfall. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get worse, the feds stepped in. Yes, the actual federal agents, because when court-ordered secrecy is breached and you're the loudest mouth in the room, guess who they look at first? They escorted her out in cuffs. Quiet, no words, no Instagram captions. Just silence. Tasha K, the woman who never knew when to shut up, was finally shut down by the law. But outside that courtroom, things weren't slowing down. Social media went into a frenzy. People who once defended her started backing away. Old collaborators deleted videos, pulled down posts, and issued statements like they were trying to dodge the fire spreading fast. YouTubers who once praised her mess now started breaking down her downfall like a Greek tragedy. And then just when it felt like we had seen the last twist, Bambi came forward with a second set of documents. These weren't leaks. These were contracts. Alleged agreements between influencers and sources, with payouts tied to interviews that would slander certain names during active trials. If verified, that alone could blow the lid off a whole network of digital manipulation. And at the center of it all, Tasha K, with her name allegedly listed as the primary organizer. There was also talk that some of the people she'd collaborated with had flipped, turning over their devices to avoid prosecution. Screenshots of DMS started floating around where Tasha was allegedly coordinating content, scheduling releases, and even giving talking points to her so-called independent guests. What was once dismissed as messy gossip now looked like a full-blown operation, and Bambi was laying it all bare. You could feel the shift online. This wasn't entertaining anymore, this was dark. People started questioning every story Tasha had ever pushed. Were they real? Were they staged? Who got paid? Who got played? And where was the line between commentary and criminal behavior? In the days following the courtroom chaos, reports confirmed Tasha was being held for contempt and obstruction. There were whispers that additional charges might be filed depending on how deep this leak truly went. And the irony, the very platform that made her famous, the internet, was now dissecting her every move, picking apart her downfall like she used to do to others. Karma didn't knock. It barged in, kicked over her ring light, and took the mic. And as the online world gasped and speculated, there was one undeniable truth rising above the noise. Tasha K had finally crossed a line. She couldn't joke her way out of dot, so now everything was common till, boom, the courtroom turned into a circus. And guess who was center stage? Tasha K, sipping imaginary wine, thinking her YouTube clout would shield her from the law. But oh no, sis didn't see this one coming. While she strutted and all smug, Bambi hit the internet with receipts that made jaws drop faster than Tasha's subscriber count post-lawsuit. The timing, immaculate. Just as the judge started peering over documents with that "we're about to cook you" look, Bambi was casually uploading a carousel of unseen screenshots, recordings, and even a hotel security clip that looked straight out of a Netflix docu. People couldn't scroll fast enough. And the audio. If tea had a temperature, this was straight lava. You could hear voices, laughter, threats, even someone nervously whispering, "Delete it now." The internet lost its mind. One anonymous account, that may or may not be someone from the legal team, leaked that Tasha K allegedly tried to pay off a witness. Yep, real scandal hours. Venmo screenshots, blurred account names, and out names, and timestamps were suddenly flying through Reddit like confetti at a scandal parade. Meanwhile, Bambi played it cool, like, oh, this. Just a little something I saved for a rainy courtroom day. Twitter was on fire. One user said Tasha K, about to vlog from jail, and still deny everything like she always do. The best part, the judge allegedly paused the proceedings, pulled their glasses down, and said, "We need to take a recess." Because even the law needed a break after that kind of bombshell. But this wasn't just messy, it was nuclear. Leaked DMS showed conversations between Tasha and an unnamed reality star where they plotted to humble Bambi with a fake scandal. Yeah, they even had mock headlines drafted up. Bambi caught in love triangle with pastor and personal trainer. Who even thinks of this? Tasha K, that's who. She's not just a YouTuber, she's a one-woman drama studio, and the premiere just flopped in court. Meanwhile, Bambi, always underestimated, proved she was holding more cards than a Vegas dealer. You could hear the courtroom gasp like, literally, someone gasped so hard a reporter turned around, thinking someone fainted. But no, it was just the sheer audacity of the lies unraveling in real time. Another twist, an audio file named Plan B, final mix surfaced in court. Turns out, it wasn't music. It was a strategy meeting, secretly recorded, where a voice, sounding a whole lot like Tasha's, outlined steps to leak false info to blogs and shift public sympathy. She even mentioned keywords for SEO, like make sure you say betrayal, secret lover, and exposed. That'll boost the algorithm. Who does that? Only a professional chaos curator. Meanwhile, Bambi sat silent, wearing that "I told y'all" smirk, as her lawyer, who was clearly enjoying this more than they should have, dropped line after line from the transcripts. It was a takedown without raising a single voice. Every lie, every shady tactic was laid out like receipts at an IRS audit, and while Tasha's fans were doing mental gymnastics trying to defend her, even they were like, yeah sis, this one's bad. Some were deleting old tweets in real time. You know it's serious when stans start jumping ship before the verdict's even out. And let's not even start on the YouTube reactions channels, live streaming breakdowns, analyzing every word, zooming in on courtroom sketches like it's a Renaissance painting. It was wild, and Tasha, she looked like she aged 10 years in 10 minutes. The wig started sliding, the confidence evaporated, and all that was left was a woman being exposed by the very receipts she used to destroy others. And don't get it twisted, this wasn't karma knocking. Karma kicked the whole door down, sat on the couch, and made popcorn. And just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, the entire courtroom literally gasped when another sealed envelope was accidentally handed to the judge mid-hearing, and inside, screenshots, voice notes, and a mysterious USB drive labeled TK Confessions Final Cut. What was inside that USB had reporters running for the exits to call their editors. It was a full-blown vault of receipts, allegedly featuring K's private messages, backroom deals, and leaked conversations with unnamed reality stars where she boasts about shaping narratives, fabricating scandals, and even bribing low-level assistants to sneak out court footage. It was as if she was directing her own documentary, except this time, she was the villain. The courtroom turned into a circus, with her legal team scrambling to request an immediate recess while the prosecution smiled like they just hit the jackpot. Word spread fast within minutes. Twitter turned into a digital battlefield, with users posting their own wild theories, tagging Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, even Wendy Williams, dragging every blogger and influencer they could think of into this mess. But the real kicker, Bambi wasn't done. That woman must have had a whole Dropbox worth of chaos, because right after court, she held a surprise press conference. Yes, a full press conference outside the courthouse with makeup on point and the confidence of someone holding the nuclear codes. And guess what she dropped? Surveillance footage. From a luxury hotel, date stamped, audio enhanced, and very clearly showing a figure that looks exactly like Tasha K. in a hallway exchanging a suspicious envelope with a man who's now confirmed to be a junior court clerk. Y'all, the internet broke. TikTokers started frame-by-frame analysis, like it was the Zapruder film. Body language experts chimed in. Lip readers tried decoding what was said. And while chaos exploded online, Tasha K was nowhere to be seen, literally vanished after the courtroom exit. Her team released a generic statement citing mental health and media harassment while she reportedly took a private jet out of state. But that didn't stop the judge, who the next morning issued a bench warrant for her arrest, citing contempt of court, evidence tampering, and obstruction of justice. And before lunchtime, TMZ had already posted grainy footage of U.S. Marshals arriving at what was believed to be her Airbnb hideout. By 3 p.m., she was in custody. No wig, no lashes, just sunglasses and a hoodie, walking with her head down like a character in a Netflix docuseries titled The Blogger Who Flew Too Close to the Drama. Meanwhile, Bambi was trending #1 worldwide. News outlets were camped outside her house. Fans were praising her for delivering justice in heels. And even former enemies were reposting her clips with applause. Some folks even suggested she run for office. But here's where it gets wild, because while Tasha sat in a holding cell, the internet's conspiracy army dug deeper, and what they found? Baby, it's giving HBO miniseries. Allegations started surfacing that this wasn't just about Tasha going rogue. Whispers started linking her to a larger gossip ring, a shadow network of influencers, PR fixers, and media puppets who've been pulling strings behind the scenes for years. Suddenly, clips from old YouTube lives, deleted tweets, and Instagram stories were being re-examined like ancient scrolls. Viewers spotted the same phrases used across multiple scandal videos, the same anonymous source, and even background locations that matched. Then someone did a side-by-side voice analysis comparing a certain court insider, who always leaked tips to a well-known Love and Hip Hop cast member's ex-assistant. The overlap. Too close to ignore. It started to look like Tasha K may not have been acting alone in Bambi. She might have known it the whole time. In fact, some speculate she only dropped her receipts when she realized she was being used as a pawn in a much bigger game. Think about it, how else did she get access to court footage, sealed testimony, and high-level leaks that not even major networks could crack? Somebody was feeding her, somebody high up, and now that person might be next. Because the DA just announced they're expanding the investigation, naming multiple individuals as persons of interest, and issuing subpoenas for digital communications across several platforms: YouTube, Instagram, even encrypted services. It's officially a digital crime probe now, and Tasha K's case, it's just the beginning, because if half of what's rumored is true, this could be the biggest media manipulation case in internet history. A modern Watergate, but make it messy. And as the credits roll on this episode of Chaos, all we can do is sit back, refresh our feeds, and wonder, who's getting exposed next? If you thought this courtroom chaos was wild, just wait, there's more drama unraveling by the second, and we're right here to break it all down for you. But don't just sit back and miss the next twist. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right now and turn on your notifications so you're always the first to know when we drop the next bombshell. And trust me, in this world of leaked receipts, secret recordings, courtroom confrontations, and social media explosions, you do not want to be the last to find out. We're not just talking about rumors, we're talking about real footage, verified documents, and sources that are coming forward with the kind of tea that burns. So if you live for the truth with a twist of shade, you've found your new home. Drop a comment below and tell us what you think really went down. Was Tasha K set up? Is Bambi playing dirty or just defending her name? Your opinion matters, and we're reading every word. Share this video with your friends, because once they hear what really happened behind those courtroom doors, they're gonna thank you later. Stay locked in, because the mess has only just begun.